My way over here from our Memorial Day event just outside with the National Guard, we had one hospital running on a generator. Power is now restored. That last one was Owensboro Health in Muhlenberg County. That is a really good sign. Had a number of other hospitals that either temporarily had generator power, but we believe they are all now stable. But remember, as power goes on and off, it is a fluid situation. We believe we have 4 long-term health centers that are on generators. Those include 2 in Dawson Springs, the Dawson Springs Health and Rehab, and Treadwater Health and Rehab. Also in La Center, Kentucky Life Care Center, that's in Ballard County, and in Greenville, Kentucky, Maple Health Nursing Home. I want to thank our Division of Forestry, which sits typically right over here. They have deployed at one time or another 7 SAW teams. This is a whole lot of their entire group of SAW teams to help with fallen trees and debris. These teams have either worked or will be working in Christian County, Woodford County, 2 in Hopkins County, including through the night last night, and 3 in Muhlenberg County. They will probably be there today for most of the day. Our National Guard, the best National Guard in the country, has stepped up to help once again. Our Guard has 6 teams joining the Division of Forestry in Christian and Muhlenberg counties, and shortly after this press conference will be helping me to get to Hopkins County, an area I know really well, to check on the damage firsthand in Charleston, and then we'll see the other communities that we can reach. Our Kentucky State Police has worked around the clock answering calls and responding to distress, but unfortunately, KSP communication was hit hard by last night's storms, and several KSP phone lines were knocked out. Thankfully, 911 calls in most places could be routed to other local agencies, but several KSP posts have phone KentuckyStatePolice.org for a full list of alternative numbers. To the extent the press can help us get those numbers out to the different areas of the state so that people will have them. We don't know how long it's going to take to get each and all those lines up, especially post 2. The Madisonville area that got hit pretty hard is an area where we're going to need people to see that alternative number. The Red Cross has 1 shelter open in Clay County. Red Cross typically sits over here. We're grateful for their help. They are sheltering 6 residents, though I think I have a report that we have a few more in that Clay County shelter, and is working on identifying additional needs. I've also authorized opening up rooms at the Pennyrile Park. We had folks that were there after the 2021 tornadoes. We have not had anyone check in yet, but remember, this happened late. Abilities. I think we have our reps and FEMA reps that are there at Pennyrile to help register people. On water and wastewater, for Katie's, water was knocked out, but power's been restored. We have 200 customers still under a boiled water advisory. In the Lake Barkley region, 80 customers are still under a boiled water advisory. In Dawson, the power knocks out the ability to pump the water, so there is no power, and leaks are ongoing due to damage. It's probably our biggest worry on the water side right now. In Albany, we have a power outage at the plant, and 3 of 4 tanks are dry. They're working with us to determine generator specifications that are required, and are communicating. We're communicating with the county EM personnel for resource requests, bottled water, and others. This is a priority to restore storage capacity. In Caldwell County, multiple pump stations are without power, but the treatment plant is still operation. Island Water has limited operations, and then Shepherdsville wastewater treatment plant is running on generator power. We believe all of our wastewater systems, sewer systems, are generally operational and intact. One of our biggest concerns that's out there from the environmental side is we had a dock breakaway on Dale Hollow Lake that has caused what we believe is a significant fuel spill. The Energy and Environment Cabinet have their hazmat team down there now. We'll have more information as they learn more. Don't have any volumes yet, but we're worried about it. It's one of the most significant impacts of these storms. The storms have also impacted travel on several state routes across the state. And into the night to help people and get clear. I mean, one of the biggest damages we saw in this was trees down, and massive trees down. They knocked out power. They kept us from getting to homes for a period of time. They blocked roads, and they fell on some people, and tragically fell on some people. We did have a tree fall on a little girl who was riding her bike, and miraculously she is okay, even though the bike was damaged. There's a bit of a hand of God in that story. Thanks to the Transportation Cabinet crew's hard work and a break in the weather and teamwork from utility and the Kentucky Division of Forestry crews, several roads were reopened yesterday. Last night's wave of storm brought more damage, so crews are still out there today. We still have some blocked lanes, so please be patient. Remember, these folks are away from and road members, so be really careful. They're out there on the roads, and we want them to all be safe. Also remember, after natural disasters, we sometimes lost people in the cleanup, and we do not want that to happen. So everybody look out for each other on these work sites, and just, again, be really careful as you travel to stay clear of the crews that are working. Again, the biggest impacts are in Western Kentucky, in counties like Hopkins, Muhlenberg, and Caldwell. Several parts of the Western Kentucky Parkway are blocked. Beside closures due to debris, heavy rain has restricted travel on roads, especially in Webster County. So transportation crews will respond as quickly as possible. And Secretary Gray, I know is going to repeat a lot of this, but we should for people that are out there. Number one, with power line like a four-way stop if a signal is down, and slow down, especially in these areas. I'll now turn it over to Transportation Cabinet Secretary Jim Gray to give you more details on the transportation side. He'll then pass it to the head of our EOC, our director, Eric Gibson, and then we'll take some questions. But a tragic night, at least 4 lives lost. That's not what we want to see. Significant storms, real tornadoes, a lot of work to do to clean up. And as Director Gibson will talk about, we need to be helping our families. Search and rescue is still ongoing in their basic needs, but we also have to begin the recovery process now. This is a big enough event where I think we should qualify for public assistance from FEMA with what's been knocked down on utilities. Into the total that's ultimately looked at to determine if our citizens can get that help. So your willingness to track your damage and to turn it in is what could help a neighbor or someone you don't even know from another county get that help. So now I'll turn it over to Secretary Gray.
Well, thanks, Governor. And first things first, the Governor said it so well, I'll say it again, our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers go out to the victims and their families of this weather disaster. Once again, we are here. And fortunately, we have some of the best people and the best crews in the country serving on Team Kentucky. Our highway technicians in the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and to clear roads so critical emergency services can get to the people who need help the most. Alongside ambulance crews, police and firefighters, and electric utility workers, restoring power. Their dedication is keeping Kentuckians safe. Now, as of this morning, we are reporting high water, fallen trees, and other impacts in about 45 counties, mainly, of course, as the governor said, in western Kentucky. Nearly 100 state highways were affected by overnight storms, and the bulk of those in Paducah, Madisonville, and the Bowling Green districts, our highway districts. We've called in second shifts of highway technicians to continue clearing debris and monitoring high water throughout these regions. Mullen and Caldwell counties, overnight crews worked through numerous downed trees to help responders reach the tornado damage path and ensure clear roads. Tree clearing there will continue today. In Todd County, crews are flagging US 68 intersection affected by downed lines. Portions of US 41, US 62, Kentucky 91, and the Western Kentucky Parkway have lanes that have been blocked by downed trees, downed lines, and high water, like many other state highways. Crews have reopened US 31W in Horse Cave to one lane as utility crews work to restore lanes. And farther east, in this direction in Clark County, crews have placed message boards to warn I-64 travelers of low power lines at Winchester as the power company works to fix the damage. Talking with our chief district engineer, District 7, about this issue and about this location, and agencies with the city of, our partnering agencies include the city of Winchester Police for the rolling roadblock. Crews are hauling water and other supplies to hard-hit areas. Now, I've highlighted only a portion of the work that's taking place now in all across the state as we continue this storm response. Highway technicians will continue, keep at it, cutting trees, removing them, pushing debris off roads to keep Kentucky moving safely. Our goal is to first make highways passable for emergency responders to get help to those who need it. Now, you can help The governor mentioned our Work Zone Safety Month. That's exactly what we've been focused on in today and our recovery efforts. Really, we need to think about those who are out there who are working in this recovery. So, the governor said I was going to repeat this, so allow me to. If you must travel, remember, never drive through high water as only a few inches can float a car. Turn around, don't drown. Never touch downed utility lines or try to move trees tangled in lines. If you encounter a dark traffic signal, treat the intersection like a four-way stop. And be mindful of debris remaining alongside roads. Crews often move debris to the right-of-way to make a clear path and will return to fully clean it up later. I want to take the time again to thank stationed in, and I've got a whole list of crossing county boundaries in the last 24 hours. But these crews are working alongside our state forestry crews that the governor mentioned, county road crews, firefighters, electric utility workers, and many others. Yes, there are no lines on a map when it comes to protecting each other. We are all one team. We are all here to help. I'm thankful that safety is our #1 mission. And no matter the challenge, our Team Kentucky crews answer the call of public service, and I want to thank them. I want to thank them for their dedication in keeping others safe in times of crisis. And we urge everyone to stay weather alert by monitoring weather forecasts. Finally, check traffic on a navigational app like to Emergency Management Director Eric Gibson, who in his new role in just a few weeks is already engaged in exemplary service. Director.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, thanks, Secretary Gray, for the warm introduction, and to the governor for his comments and updates as we talk about the events that have come through Kentucky again. As we know that we begin this response efforts, and it has been a widespread disaster that's stretched across our state, and we have a lot of families that are suffering, those that have lost loved ones during this event, and then there's others that have severe damage to their homes. They have injuries, so our state is really in a place right now where we do have Kentuckians across the state that are here in the room with us today, and they've been out front having a memorial service for the fallen soldiers from the state, and we recognize that, and we appreciate your all being here today too, as you all continue to help us to this response. But we know that it's a big day for your all celebration as well. The state EOC has been open now since the beginning of this event. We started briefing our county judges and emergency managers and PVAs across the state for the upcoming storm early this week. We've continued to prepare for this event, and we did our very best to warn everyone that this storm was coming. The Emergency Operations Center is open now. It was open throughout the storm. It will continue to be open for the next several operational periods as we prepare to and continue to take calls for damage, people needing assistance, people wanting to report issues that have not been addressed. And at the end of this, here that can take calls and make sure that the help is needed is sent that way. And I'll share that number as well at the end of this short brief, and I will be brief with my comments. I know that everybody has a lot of work going on in and around this building, and we do appreciate the media coming to our center here. I know that coming to Frankfort, we do appreciate it just to get this word out to the Commonwealth, the damage that's going on, spreading the information about the phone lines being down, about the power that's been out, just making sure that we're doing our very best to communicate to our citizens what's out there for them and then how they can get help if needed. And so just to continue on the path of being brief, we did have a significant amount of damage throughout our state. The governor went through the list of the counties that we know have already declared local states of emergency, and we've already petitioned the governor, and he has assigned the state declaration so that we continues. We have to really a big process of recovery. Our state has truly had a lot of damage during this event. And as we talk about recovery, that's also a mission here at Kentucky Emergency Management that maybe not everyone is aware of. But recovery is a part of this storm and part of the storm damage cleanup process. And recovery, we mean trying to provide assistance to our citizens. We try to recover the cities, the counties, public property, and individual assistance that can be provided through the resources that FEMA bring to the state. With the recovery process, it's important to know there are things that you can do as a Kentuckian to help others, because as a state, there are certain numbers that FEMA look at before they start to provide assistance. So all damage reports are important. Good photographs, receipts of necessary repairs to maintain, the physical be through your local county emergency manager that works in each one of the counties. They will be providing those updates to us here, and when we compile all that information, and our staff here will submit that as a request up to the governor's office, and he would forward that on to FEMA for their consideration. So as I go over the recovery process, it is a complicated process, and we know it's a drawn-out process. But as the damage assessments begin this week, make sure you're communicating well with your local officials and getting that information to them so that they can provide that information to us, so we have a whole picture of the entire damage that we've endured through this last storm. We know that it is a pretty widespread event, and we expect it to take several days to get the the entire picture of what all has been damaged. But like I said, the way to get that up is through the local emergency manager that works for your county judge executive. They'll provide that information to us. And that seems out of line, please report that to our Attorney General, and they'll investigate that to make sure that our citizens are protected from that kind of activity. So the number I wanted to make sure that I shared with you is to our 24-hour watch center that's manned around the clock here. And this number is not only good when we're in the middle of a storm, but if there's something that you need that you think Kentucky Emergency Management can provide, we do keep a staff in here 24/7 that sits right behind where the media is at now. The number, we'll have it, it's on our website, it's on our posters, but the number is 1-800-255-2587, 1-800-255-2587, and that's the number to the 24-hour watch center. And that would be something you'd want to use if you're having trouble making contact with the state police post and you need a call routed that way, or if you're having trouble reaching your emergency manager, because we do know that they're extremely overworked right now during this time, and that there is the when we move forward through this event, we'll be working really hard through the recovery phase for the next several weeks and months to come. But the damage right now, we're in a response mode where we have responders out there, as the governor and Secretary Gray discussed, and those responders are out there trying to meet the needs of our citizens right now. We'll move to a recovery phase when that phase ends. So with that being said, I'll repeat that number one more time, 1-800-255-2587, and that's just a backup line, or if you need someone here at Emergency Management, that's a 24-hour number. With that being said, I'd like to turn it back over to Governor Beshear so that he may be able to take any comments or questions from the people in the room. Thank you all very much for being here today.
Thank you, Director. Just as a follow-up on the importance of documenting the damage, after the April 3rd storms, remember those hit all over Kentucky. We had over 20 different tornadoes, small, but it was going to require they were uninsured. They were going to have nothing. But because Team Kentucky, because our people rallied after those storms and turned in their damage reports, we got the president to issue the right declaration so that individual assistance was available for those April 3rd storms. So that couple that I talked to that thought they were going to have nothing are going to be able to apply to get at least some dollars from FEMA to rebuild their lives. That's why it's really important today. Your hail damage, your car damage, any damage to your house, that you document and then you ultimately report to your emergency management director in your county. Finally, I want to make sure I thank all of our local leadership in these counties. I was on the phone with many, if not most, of our judges of the counties that were getting hit hard as it moved through. They put up every warning. We'll open it up for questions. Karen? So I just talked to the FEMA administrator, and right now we believe that we have it covered. Right now we're working to get different generators from our sources that we have here in the state and around it. Right now we're providing assistance from the state level to our counties, but our cities and counties are out there working it and working it hard. And sometimes we even have to offer extra help to get them to take it, because these are all our people. But in each of these counties, they're especially close-knit communities. So I believe that we are going to be able to handle what we have in terms of search and rescue. We had different groups from Owensboro and other places come. As all of our people in any surrounding area responding and coming to the cause, being a force multiplier and helping us. So right now I don't have any requests outside for FEMA, but let's do understand that marshaling all these resources means we got a lot of people away from their families over Memorial Day weekend, so we just ought to be real thankful to them. Yes, Lee? Do we have any right now that? I don't believe that we have anyone at this moment that we believe is unaccounted for. The hardest part last night was getting into that Charleston area, which was about a 5-mile area with trees down and having to cut through multiple of them. With that said, that sometimes we do learn about fatalities a day. And so if someone's been injured, they ought to go to the hospital or their doctor and get checked out. But we don't believe at this point that there are any missing individuals, at least that we're aware of. Yes. So when the KSP numbers went down, 911 was sent to local groups. There's redundancy in that, and they were using cell phone numbers to contact the state police. I do believe in the future we should want dedicated backup numbers when the major communication goes down, whether that's cell phone or others. You know, that's something that I think we're going to take out of this, that we can do a little bit better, but we don't believe that there was any. Yes. No, it could have been much worse. The people of Kentucky are very weather aware with everything we've been through, and the lion's share of the credit to getting through this with a tough loss of life, but one that could have been more is the people listening to their meteorologists, their all of our news teams that are out there, as well as what we're able to put out, and taking it very seriously. The entire time I was here last night, all of us were not only, and in this room, and the folks in this room work really hard. The information we gave out today comes from every single desk in here of people that are really exemplary public servants. But I think every time we're going through something, we're thinking about what we would do a little bit stuck in their home and can't get out? Are they stuck in their basement and can't get out? Or can they not get out of their yard or their neighborhood? So just, as we sadly deal with these more and more, how do we get to the next step and the next step and the next step that makes us better and better each time? I can tell you we've come a long way since December of 2021. So many people in this room were here, and every lesson that we've learned helped us to do better in the floods, and to do better in the polar plunges, and to do better in the ice storms, and now in the April tornadoes and these as well. We haven't had anyone check into the park yet, but that could be how late we were in getting some of these people out of their homes. Certainly that. After the tornadoes and in the travel trailer program. Right now, we're only reporting people in a Clay County shelter. That doesn't mean that people aren't with relatives or at a church, just not with a report to us. All right? All right, thank you all very much.